Hola, this is Dr. Anatole, and I'm having a very good time walking at this cemetery. There's a nice little cemetery in my little town, and I want to talk to you about how to become immortal, how not to ever die. And if you like this kind of topics, if you care to support this channel, which I would appreciate, please subscribe. And at the end of the video, at the end of watching the video, if you like it, that would be very much appreciated. Back to the cemetery, back to immortality. Well, walking at the cemetery helps us notice something quite otherwise obvious, that here I am walking, talking, squawking. Give it a few minutes, hours, days, years, and I will play into this game. So when we read the different scriptures, talk to different spiritual teachers who talk to us about immortality, about becoming eternal, living forever, what do they mean? Do they mean that you need to train your body and mind so that they will never die? Or do they mean something else? Well, with a little bit of observation, we can see that some things are constant in the world and some things are temporary. Some things forever change and some things don't. And what I'm going to say now will probably sound quite obvious, but one thing you need to understand is that intellectual knowledge is not really knowledge on a path of life. It's just speculation. Even very sophisticated intellectual speculation is speculation. And that's the problem with reading scriptures and listening to spiritual teachers, is that it's not real knowledge. It's basically third-party knowledge. You don't really know it on a spiritual level. You know it on an intellectual level. Look at this, a deer. Hello, deer. Two deer. I've seen them before here. Oh, there's third deer. There's a fawn, a tiny one. There are two of them. Look at this. Cool. Three of them, actually. The one in the back, I can't tell if that's it. Looks, yeah, it's a fawn, but it's definitely a bit older than those two. So these animals actually, on an intuitive level, they know a lot more than many human beings, most human beings, because they do not have to deal with tremendous interference from our minds. Their minds are a lot simpler, they are much more connected with nature. So these different saints in the past, and probably in the present quite a few too, they understood that there is something that is eternal, nature, the universe, life. And within that eternal universe, eternal life, there is change of seasons. You see these trees, they're green because we're in the middle of August, but the leaves are mature, and soon enough in this area, because it's a kind of cooler, colder place than otherwise, these leaves will start falling down. So do animals and plants and everybody, including human beings, who are basically sophisticated animals. Well, humans think that they're sophisticated animals. Some animals will think that very extremely stupid and cruel and have multiple issues which have to do with our very smart mind. The saints understood that there is a difference between temporary and permanent. And through direct realization, you can understand that you're part of life, the permanent life. And you can understand that this body and this mind and these emotions, they are temporary. Today they're here, tomorrow they're not there. And just like leaves, they will eventually turn yellow, dry, and start falling off. And then you will have this experience. You will end up the dust from which you came. And this is a very interesting realization that a lot of poets try to get to. That was a sign. Thank you, tree, for confirming this. There was a dead bark that fell off. What do spiritual practices do? Well, they allow you to open up to life. They allow you to experience life directly. They allow you to go beyond fear. And I'm certainly not talking about formal practices alone. I'm talking about basically focusing yourself on wisdom and realization, dedicating your life to that. Not formally again, formally it can be done too, but really doing that. Many times formal spiritual practices and formal dedication is a veneer that allows people to prevent themselves from realizations. And we see this all the time. But ultimately, as a result of a spiritual journey, you understand that you are the spirit. You are life itself. And when you understand that directly, you feel that you are part of life. And when I say feel, that is also wrong, because it is deeper, that feeling. There's someone who might have ran into my direction. It always surprises me how people run in the cemetery. And an hour or so ago, there was a basically almost naked man running around the cemetery, and at least in my understanding of the cemeteries, there should be a little bit of, I don't know if there's a word, respect, I guess. It's weird to run in the cemetery, period, and to run naked almost in the cemetery, that's even weirder. But that's what brings you immortality. I think that understanding that you are life in many ways comes to you when the life itself wants you to understand that. And for this purpose, I think that thinking about it, talking about this, just like I'm doing now, is quite useless. I'm having this channel in many ways to entertain you. Well, there will be some clarity that might come from me talking, but ultimately you need to have really, really deep desire to understand these things, and this desire really shouldn't be based on fear. It may be based on overcoming fear. But there we go. You have a good one. And I'm gonna go home because I'm getting tired and hungry. And I have some really amazing mangoes that I can eat. And also I need to do some work.